Hello everyone, this is Tara and I'm going to walk you through what I am learning on Donzer regarding our preparation for the Prix St. George test. This is a very rough draft of the ride and I want to share with you what I see as my current things to fix as I progress. So we're going to come around at home. My goal was to try to ride Prix St. George at the last show of the season, but it looks like we're probably not going to be quite ready. As you can see, submission and rider effectiveness are going to be our biggest challenges. We are getting much better, but as you'll see, we have a lot of things to work on still. So as I'm coming into the test, I'm keeping Donzer more forward, but he is being naughty by pulling on his head a lot. And I used to think that the bouncing around of his head was more him just trying to loosen his back and get organized. But what I'm realizing is this is actually a little bit of a naughty response. And dealing with that is a little bit of bumping him with the leg, because obviously I don't want to yank him in the mouth to fix that. So we're just having this little bit of a discussion. And I've been working a lot on canter, so our trot work, I can tell a difference. So what I do like here is we are getting some push from behind, more than I used to, but then coming to the end I ask for a half halt and then he's giving me a little shake of his head and I'm saying, hey, get with the program, buddy. This is what we need to have. And there I need to drop my armpits down. Coming into this shoulder in, I need to turn my rib cage more in the direction of the bend. To the left, I don't normally keep enough bend. And then this is our 8-meter circle. Again, I didn't warm him up to prep for this, but again, he has done plenty of canter work, so he shouldn't be giving me that attitude. Coming into our trot half pass, though, I do get a hold of the hind leg quite nicely. So we're at the stage with Donzer that the movements are in there, but there's no leeway given. As the rider, I have to make this all happen. So in here you can see he's going to break into a little bit of a canter, or he's going to try to break. He doesn't actually break, but he's ready to go. And Donzer can do all the pieces, but there I said, hey, you need to listen to me. And then he's like, yeah, okay. And then he gets on with the program. He doesn't mind being corrected when he's done that. But right now there's just no leeway, and again I need to turn my upper body a little bit more with the shoulder in, but the hind leg is coming nicely here. Donzer's just not at the stage where any of this is solid enough that he's going to carry it if I'm not on it. So this is part of the process of learning together, is that he's only as good as I ask him to be. And then we're coming in a little bit of hunches leading, but again moving pretty nicely to the side. So the trot half passes are there. And then we come into the walk. And this part was kind of fun, coming into our walk pirouettes, because it really felt like Donzer goes, you know, I got this, I kind of understand the job. So as we turn, he's slowing down a little bit, but his hind legs do stay fairly nice and active, and I can feel with each sits bone the step of the legs, and I'm being able to use my outside thigh and knee to make this turn happen. And he gets really slow, but he didn't actually stick, which was nice. Then coming, I can tell as a rider I'm still being a little cautious where I needed to get the right bend, but the other part of me was just kind of hovering, going, ooh, hang in there, I hope this works. And part of my process as a rider at this point is I really have to be able to ride the whole test and not just have those moments where I kind of cross my fingers and hope it's going to work out. So he got sucked back a little bit on the medium walk, but then he came forward really nicely actually onto this extended walk. And my hands are moving nicely, he's touching the bit. You couldn't ask for a better walk. It's probably always been one of our strongest moves. So now we're prepping for the canter, and this is something where I'm getting more of the diagonal aids and incorporating my belly into it. But you can see right now what Donzer likes to do to me is to duck his nose into his chest, and he's really quick about it. And as a rider, I'm having to learn to kind of scoosh his head up and catch that before he does that, and then there he was late behind. And then he didn't want to get on with the program of moving sideways, so that's some definite submission. Though you can see he clearly can do it. It's just a matter of organizing and sitting. So now we're going to come into our pirouette turns. Canter started to come, and then right as we went into it, he just dumped on the shoulders. So this is me getting ahead and saying, no, we need to stay active behind. This is the other thing I'm starting to work on feeling, is that he gets slow behind, and I've got to keep him active, active, active. And when I ask for active, that doesn't mean change. So there's so many little layers of subtlety that I'm having to learn as a rider to make this happen. I think this pirouette actually happens a little more nice, and he comes around, and then, you know, coming through this corner, you have to keep the counter canter and we're still working on the submission and the changes, because when the changes come, he gets really excited and goes, I know what's coming. And here, this is the first time I've asked for changes across the diagonal, and you can see it got exciting, and you know, our counting was not happening, and then here I was saying, listen to me and do it. We threw in a couple at the end for good measure. So changes are in there, but we've got to work on the coordination and when I ask aspect of things. And so this is going to take a lot more work on our straight lines and our quarter lines, just kind of bending back and forth and saying, okay, bending is not the aid. It's when my seat changes that it's the aid. Because at this point, I really can't say for certainty that I'm not hovering. You can see I'm still getting a little forward in my seat. And then here with the canter, I let him gallop, and that's bad on my part because I kind of like to gallop. So I let him go, and then I had to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he kept going, and I said, hey, you need to listen, and we needed to do that again. So then I asked him to come around and canter. And this is a schooling thing on my part, is I really have to keep him in better control, because that's not 100% his fault. I like to gallop too. So I want to come back around and ask him for one more canter lengthening, and then he needs to be able to come back to that nice, very active canter, and then do the change and not just gallop off. And we get it a little bit better this time, but still he's not listening to my half halt quite enough. And so I brought him around here on an extra 10-meter circle to kind of let the circle help me slow him down and say, come on, get back up here. So you can see he does get his pole up quite nicely, but we don't live there yet. So these are just a lot of aspects as a rider that I am working through and in this process, but I can say that even though it wasn't perfect, we had a heck of a lot of fun. So that's where we are in our process.